Welcome back to April of 2024. We're doing an, I would say, unusual, unprecedented prediction due to Donald Trump's trial. This is the post aftermath of Donald Trump's unconstitutional trial in New York. We're going to take a look at how this will kind of influence Donald Trump. Donald Trump after the trial. Will people kind of feel bad for him, or will people come to his aid? Seeing this, what it seems to be alleged persecution by the federal government, like New York and Georgia and Washington, or is this going to go as the Democrats are going to say it's going to go for? Like, they're going to say, "Oh, Biden's going to sweep the country because Trump bad, Trump criminal," which isn't, honestly, in my opinion, a legitimate reason why, even though Biden's honestly worse. So, in many ways. So, let's go ahead. This is not election night of 2024. Let's get started. So, let's start off at 6 p.m. We are going to call the states of Kentucky for Donald Trump. Kentucky is going in for Donald Trump. And then we have Indiana. Indiana is also being called for Donald Trump at this hour. It's 7 p.m. We can call South Carolina a solid Republican, meaning going solid for Trump at 7 p.m. Biden getting nothing so far. Um, we got 7:30 p.m. We can call the state of. We got. Wow. Okay. Get these out of the way. We can call the state of West Virginia for Donald Trump. West Virginia going in for Donald Trump, 32 electoral votes. We can now call the state of Ohio, very likely going for Donald Trump. Likely going for Donald Trump at 49 electoral votes. Vermont, as usual, strongly going for Joe Biden, 3 electoral votes. Donald Trump holding an impressive lead, 49. It's not really much, but according to these polls here, we have Florida going for Donald Trump. That is 30 electoral votes. 30 electoral votes going for Donald Trump from Florida. It's now 8 o'clock p.m. Donald Trump leading by 79 electoral votes. Biden by 3. We can now call the state of Massachusetts for Joe Biden. 14 electoral votes. The first district of Maine is going for Donald Trump. No, not Donald Trump. Am I kidding? The first district of Maine going for uh Biden. That is 15 electoral votes included. Rhode Island goes for Biden. 19 electoral votes. We can now call the state with not I don't think it's a state, but we have the District of Columbia. 3 electoral votes going for Joe Biden. The state of Connecticut, solid for Biden. Delaware is going in for Biden. 3 electoral votes. We have Maryland going hard for Biden, 42 electoral votes. We can now call the state of Alabama for Donald Trump, 9 electoral votes. The state of Mississippi and Tennessee, Donald Trump is the first of the candidates to reach 100 electoral votes and pass. Then we can call the state of Missouri for Donald Trump. That's 10 electoral votes, 115. We can now call the state of Oklahoma. 7 electoral votes, 122. We will call the state of North Dakota and South Dakota for Donald Trump. 128 electoral votes so far. Maine's 2nd congressional district will go for Donald Trump. And then we have Kansas. Kansas will also go for Donald Trump at a likely margin. All right. Donald Trump almost beating Biden by 100 electoral votes. Trump with 135, Biden with just 42. But we'll see if the next coming hours will bring a difference. We have 8:30 p.m. It's a half hour later. We can now call the state of Arkansas for Donald Trump. 141 electoral votes being given. 9 p.m. We can call the 3rd congressional district of Nebraska for Donald Trump. That said, Donald Trump beating Joe Biden by 100 electoral votes of the margin. Wyoming going solid for Donald Trump. Louisiana, 8 electoral votes. Nebraska is going in for Donald Trump. The Nebraska at large, 145. 155, excuse me. We can now call the state of New York for Joe Biden. Going hard for Biden, 70 electoral votes for him. New Jersey is going for Joe Biden, 84 electoral votes. Nebraska's 1st congressional district is likely to go for Donald Trump at the end of the day, so we can now call that district for Donald Trump, 156 electoral votes. Virginia can be called at this hour. It is tilting for Joe Biden. Tilting for Joe Biden, we can now call the state of Virginia, which has been called which was supposed to be called at 7 p.m., but it was too close to call. We can now call North Carolina for Donald Trump. North Carolina goes for Donald Trump, 172 electoral votes. Georgia tilting for Donald Trump. We can now call the state of Georgia. That's Donald Trump's very first flip. So far, very good sign for the Trump campaign. 16 electoral votes being given. Illinois going hard for Joe Biden. We can now call the state of Illinois for Joe Biden. 116 electoral votes being given. Iowa is likely to be in the Trump column at the end of the day. So we'll go ahead and give the 6 electoral votes for Donald Trump. 194 electoral votes. Once again, beating Joe Biden by over 100 in like 80 electoral votes in the margin here. That's mainly because the West Coast and the Colorado and New Mexico have not yet are in the next hour. They have not closed their polls yet. But expect the next hour for Colorado, New Mexico, California, Oregon, and all the West Coast for these states to kind of close their polls. So we're kind of being a little realistic here and kind of it's probably going to look like this in the election night here. We'll take a look at New Hampshire. New Hampshire's likely going for Joe Biden. So we're going to go ahead and call New Hampshire for Biden, 120 electoral votes. It's 10 p.m. and we can now call the state of Idaho for Donald Trump. The state of Idaho goes to Donald Trump by 198 electoral votes. We can now call it state of Utah, along with the state of Montana, bringing Donald Trump to 200 electoral votes. The Biden campaign should be a little concerned how we've seen that Trump has flipped Georgia in the last hour, but the Biden campaign is thinking they could probably pick up Wisconsin. Wisconsin's a tough race, even though their polls closed. Michigan, Pennsylvania, Nevada closed their polls too, along with Arizona. They are hoping that they can get those polls set closed. So we are now going to go ahead. Let's see. I don't think I put New Mexico on there. Shoot. Well, we can call New Mexico for Joe Biden, as it most likely will be going for him at the end of the day. It's now 11 p.m. We are now calling the state of California, giving Joe Biden a boost to Trump's level, 54 electoral votes. We are now calling the state of Washington for Joe Biden, 191 electoral votes. Oregon. It's likely to go for Biden at the end of the day. We can now call the state of Oregon for Biden, 199 electoral votes. Nebraska's 2nd district will go for Joe Biden. Whoops, not the whole thing. the 2nd district. Here we go. Yes, 208 electoral votes for Trump, 200 electoral votes for Biden. We can now call the state of Minnesota for Joe Biden. Joe Biden has taken the lead as expected, as he has with California and the Cascade states. We can project that Joe Biden has taken the lead. However, Donald Trump is projected to win Texas in the end of the day, bringing him up to 248 electoral votes. We can call the state of Colorado for Joe Biden. Colorado goes for Joe Biden, 220 electoral votes. I realize I completely forgot a lot of these states, like Texas, Colorado. I didn't even put them on the list. So we can now go ahead and call the state of Michigan. State of Michigan has concluded that Donald Trump will win. All right, 263 electoral votes. We're now closing the polls here. I think we can call Nevada. Nevada goes for Donald Trump. 269. Donald Trump closing in at 270 electoral votes. And finally, we can call Arizona for Donald Trump. And we can project Donald Trump the winner of the presidential election. Donald Trump wins 280 electoral votes. We can call Maine for Joe Biden. Maine at large, 222 electoral votes. Alaska going in for, let's see, I don't think Alaska's getting called yet, but we can call Hawaii. Hawaii, 4 electoral votes being called. Alaska, 283 electoral votes. We have Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. They're tilting in favor for it's Joe Biden at the end of the day. However, we can say that Wisconsin has just flipped to Trump. We can call Wisconsin for Donald Trump. And we now can confirm that Joe Biden wins Pennsylvania. Thus said, concluding our presidential election. From our recent election, Donald Trump loses Pennsylvania to Biden. So, what do you guys think of our prediction? Anyway, let me know down below. And as always, I'll see you all in the next political episode.